Good morning. I'm Antonio. Some of you may know me as A6, my stage name. What we have here today, what we'll be teaching pretty much, taking steps back in order to take steps forward. Usually a lot of times what will happen is in life you might have a big obstacle that you have to overcome, or you might have something that you have to deal with in the coming times. It might seem like if you sink back a little bit, you're digressing and it's making it harder for you to achieve your goal. But what you have to remember is sometimes it is possible for a situation where you might actually have to take steps back before you take a huge leap forward. First thing you need to remember is this. Let's say you got a guy right here. As a matter of fact, I'm a video game guy. So I used to like Mario. Mario came out for Nintendo 64. Back in 1996, I believe it was. Loved video games. So you got Super Mario right here. Now, I'm not an artist, so you gotta work with me a little bit here with the Super Mario thing. So you got the eyebrows and the eyes, and then you got the mustache or whatever, and then the mouth, and you got the ears and his sideburns or whatever. And then you got him standing right here. So we do the best we can there. And he's like a little chubby plumber. So he's standing there, and there's boots, and then you got a huge gap right here, and then you might have like over here, let's say it might be a star in that box that you need in order to complete the task that you guys are, or maybe just you, or maybe your family, or what have you, as a metaphor, you guys are trying to complete. Well, looking here, the first thing Mario realizes, there's a huge gap right here, obviously. So if he stands right here at this gap, and he just tries to jump straight over, he's gonna have a lot less momentum than he would have if he took a few steps back first. So putting that in mind, let's say you tried to jump here and you came short. You could land right here at this cliff, and you could actually be in a situation where you're stuck. You need to help yourself up, which is gonna be harder for you to get over there if you just try to jump straight forward. Sometimes that can happen depending on how big the gap is. Or what you can also do is take a few steps back. So if you see there's a gap there, naturally you say, all right, well, let me get some momentum going. That way when I start going, I can clear it and just keep going over to the destined area where you need to be at. So you might take a few steps back, and you might run, and you might take a giant leap and make it to the other side. So with that said, as a metaphor, because this is all setting up to other things, remembering that sometimes in life it is possible that you might need to, it might seem like you're recessing, but it might be setting up something bigger for you. So let's put that here. So let's say for instance, you're trying to get another job. So as a matter of fact, let's take it a step further. You're trying to create a job. You're trying to start a business where you can give people jobs themselves. Well, see, the thing about starting a business in this particular scenario is it requires a lot of time. It requires countless hours of measuring, planning, business plans, logos, licensing. There's a lot of different things depending on what you're trying to do that need to be taken care of as a result. So one of the first steps that my father actually did, who actually owns his own business, he had to quit his job. He couldn't work a 9 to 5 and put together his plans for his job at the same time. It wasn't productive enough, things weren't getting done fast enough. He had to constantly focus on doing other things rather than focusing on his own business. So as a result, he actually quit his job. So there was only one income at the house at the time, which was my mom, and things got substantially harder because of course there's less income in the house. So as a result of that happening, constantly planning for business and constantly, you got all this stuff all over the living room and you're putting things together. That's a step backwards so you can take a giant leap forward. Fast forward to today. My father's got a huge shop in Randallstown, Maryland that he basically runs himself along with a few other members of the family, including myself. So what he basically does is now it's pretty much a situation where he's able to move forward a lot faster than he would be if he had a regular job. And with moving forward, I mean finances, taking in more money, taking more trips, things like that. These are all things that sometimes you have to set back first to take that huge leap forward to get there. So let's say, okay, you have a life obstacle. Life obstacle. A life obstacle could be, let's say you're in this particular scenario, starting your own business. You want to start your own business. And even if it's not starting your own business, this can pretty much be applied to a lot of different things. It can be multiple scenarios. But we'll use this one for the sake of using it. I can't spell today. Okay. You want to start your own business, okay? So the first thing you need is what? You're going to need time. You're going to need the time to put everything together. So we'll put needs, and then we'll put time. You need a lot of time. So in order to do that, you're going to have to free up time. You're going to have to give something up to get something. I actually take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and one of the things that my coach is constantly getting on us about is if you're going to be serious with something, you got to give something up. That's just the way it works. If you want to be serious with something, you have to give something up, or things up, multiple things. Fact of the matter is, there's only 24 hours in a day, which isn't enough in a lot of scenarios and cases, depending on how you manage your time. But the overall consensus is that it's just not enough time in a day. So as a result of things we have to do with our day-to-day lives, some things are going to have to go, some things are going to have to be put off. So that's just the reality of it. So like obstacle, boom. You want to start your own business. So what do you need? I need time, okay? What else do you need? Well, I need money. What do you need money for? Well, it could be a situation where maybe you need to buy the materials to plan. Maybe you need to buy the licenses or whatever it may take. Maybe you need the down payment for whatever the building may be. Depends on what you're trying to start, really. So you're going to need time. You're going to need money. You're going to need focus also. Focus. That's another thing you're going to need. You're going to need to be able to stay dedicated on exactly what direction you're trying to move in and not get sidetracked constantly. A good way to do that is to try to, again, set goals and try to set certain marks that you can meet within a time frame. Don't overwhelm yourself all at once, which a lot of people have a tendency to do that. I have a tendency to overwhelm myself as well. Sometimes I try to take everything on at once, and that's not always a good thing. It is a good idea to stay focused, but you don't want to beat yourself down constantly with overwhelming yourself, because that's not going to help you at all. You got to make sure you manage things properly. Give yourself the proper time to rest, the proper time to brainstorm, the proper time to think, and the proper time to execute. And you have to make sure you stay focused, and you have to stay determined on that track and that goal. So those are going to be 3 things you need. Now, for these 3 things here, within the particular scenario of maybe losing your job or what have you, or letting go of your job, money's going to be the one that's going to be an issue. Like, okay, if I don't have an extra job, it's going to be really hard for me to have extra money in order to carry this out. So maybe it needs to be a situation where instead of earning more, you need to budget better. The money that you have coming in, maybe you're going to have to give up some other things in order so that you can move forward with your money and still put it to where it needs to be put at. So if the less money's coming in, you're going to have to really constantly grind down on what's being put out. And a lot of times, again, that can include giving up certain things that you like to do, certain habits. You might have to do things differently. You might have to eat differently. Maybe not eat as much food as you were eating before. Depends on what you're trying to do again. Time, if you lose or drop the job, time is going to be something you have more of an abundance of. With that time, you have to make sure that you manage that time properly. You have to make sure that the time that you had there to sit down and brainstorm at the table, you come up with as many logos or business plans or plan A, B's, and C's, fail safes, all kinds of different things that you need to put together in order to continue to move forward with your business plans. Now these are, again, this is only talking as if you're trying to start your own business. Focus. We've talked about that pretty much, the dedication of trying to stay on track and continually move forward. So these are all logical things. Like if you're going to try to move forward with your business or what have you, these are going to be things that you need to remember and focus on. Okay, so let's say for instance you're starting a family. Let's say you're changing jobs or you're starting a family. So we're going to put here another life obstacle. Starting a family. All right. So let's say, for instance, you have someone you're dating or what have you like that, or someone that you're married to, and there's a baby coming. Big one, very big one. So what you need to realize is, with starting a family, it's going to be a similar scenario where you might drop back temporarily, but you need to make sure you have plans to spring forward as well. So with a life obstacle starting a family, okay, what are your needs? What are your needs? Well, I can tell you the first thing is going to be money. You're going to need a whole lot of money. If you're going to be starting a family, there's going to be a whole lot of different things that are needed. You're going to need money for, of course, baby supplies. Daycare is very expensive. You're going to need money for, paying for insurance. Insurance is going to be critical. You're going to need to have things like that. Just any pretty much needs for having a baby or what have you. You're also going to need more space. More space. More space, okay? Definitely. So if you have, let's say you live in a single bedroom or something like that, might be a situation where you're going to need to have a 2-bedroom, or you're going to need to move into a house, or you're going to need to basically plow forward. Well, continuing to keep that in mind is going to be very important. Now, this is going to seem like, okay, let's say if out of nowhere it was a situation where you started a family. Let's say it was a surprise. We're not going to say accident, because I don't think that anybody, I usually determine the difference between a baby being an accident and a baby being a surprise. Accidents are usually things you would change if you can go back in history and change it. Surprises are things where you didn't see it coming, but it is what it is, so you adapt pretty much and it's all good. So it may seem like, okay, well, I was trying to get more space before the baby was coming, so now I'm in a situation where there's going to be another financial burden. I have no idea how I'm going to get to this particular space I wanted to get into of getting a bigger house now, because there's less money, because there's a baby coming. So it's like, okay, well, I'm taking steps back for my ultimate goal, which is to have more space and maybe own a house. So when thinking about it like that, you have to also remember that it's a good idea to continue to push forward. It's a great idea. So with that said, your life obstacle here, you need money, more space, and you're also going to need to, this is one thing that America's having problems with, insurance. Insurance is going to be important there. So you got to have insurance because, of course, you want to make sure the medical expenses and all the things you're aided with in terms of having these particular issues. We can go on for a long time about things like this, but you have to remember, a lot of times when you're moving forward, it can seem like you're setting back before you're moving forward. But again, if you're coming across a giant gap, you got to jump across. You need to get that momentum rolling so that you can steamroll all the way forward and you can propel yourself to where you need to be at. With that said, that's pretty much what we have for our starter lesson with our life obstacles. Try to make sure you remain positive, even if you set yourself back even just a little bit. Plowing forward is going to be the ultimate goal. So there we have it. I'm Antonio, today signing off. You guys have a nice one.